How we doing, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie, here with my guy, Mr. Idris I, out in North Carolina.
Yep, behind the black mask.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
The
indeed.
Iron Eye.
Want to elaborate on it, or is that not for the viewers?
Yeah, no, we're good. I had eye surgery, corrective surgery. My eye is good. I just got a patch over it, and I don't want to look like what's his name from the Avengers, Nick Fury. You know,
You did yourself a favor. Because even though you're my big brother, you know damn well I would have been giving you a hard time because I would have been on that.
Yeah, I'm saving the viewers. Yeah.
I feel you, bro. You know, we're warriors around here, bro. I remember roughly a year ago, we were going live with me having COVID.
Oh man, yeah,
Nothing.
you like the mob just lets you. They put you in witness protection program or something.
At the end of the day, bro, nothing stops the movement. You already know this.
Exactly.
In the words of my late father, are you hurt or are you injured? And on that note, lots to unpack, man. Thursday night football, where it's starting. The Dallas Cowboys hosting the Seattle Seahawks. This is a Seahawks team that's been sliding, Idris. And I got to say, I'm not exactly enthusiastic in our fantasy league about having to start Geno Smith this week. I was looking at our options. I had a chance to pick up Jordan Love.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, I didn't have the bid because I believe me being in first place right now might have a deal on the waiver wire or possibly where we drafted initially. I'm not 100% sure, but I was unable to pick up Love, who's been playing well. So Geno it is. I got Josh Allen on the bye week, 9-3, leading our league right now, trying to repeat. As the game goes, I think this is a lot more important for Dallas than people realize because there's been a lot of outside chatter that this team cannot beat anybody with a winning record. The Seahawks are a playoff team last year. They might be on the lowest end of having a winning record, but they are 6-5 and quickly dropping. This is a Seahawks team that really needs this game.
Yeah, I agree. Geno Smith is starting to look like the Geno Smith we kind of expected before last season. You know, he's not seeing the field like he was last season. He's not running the ball, even on quarterback runs. He's not running it like he was. He's just making those mistakes he made prior to being named the starter last season. I don't know. The defense is playing okay, but even they don't look as dominant as they were in the past. I know picking up Leonard Williams helps them in the middle, but I'm not seeing much of a difference. I don't know about this team, man. With Dallas has a reputation on beating anyone good or with a winning record, but they're undefeated at home and they've been very dominant at home. And with Deron Bland over there, I know he's going to be ready to eat whatever Geno throws in the air. He's going to be looking to take it the other way,
Yeah, man, it's been crazy this particular year with the manner and the way that certain players are extending records. Like you saw it with Jalen Hurts,
right?
With the most consecutive wins against, once again, 500 teams. Friend of the show, James D. Bell, member of our group, NFC Beast, big Cowboy fan. I thought it was a fair thing that he tossed up there today. He basically showed a metric of the Miami Dolphins schedule and was like, why isn't anybody getting on them? And while I think he makes a good point, my reply was, in the NFC East, just like we get the benefit of East Coast bias, that we get more primetime games and more exposure, we also get more criticism. That's the under end of that.
I think also with them, and I'm gonna throw it back at the Cowboys. I mean, and this is not, I'm one of the biggest haters, if not the biggest hater, but I'm gonna throw it back at them. when you are a fan or fan base of the Cowboys, a lot of them have this bravado, and they do a lot of talking. And I'm not throwing shade. I'm being straight up this time, being sincere. They throw a lot of shade. They pound their chest at every little win, any little victory, no matter what it is, against the Giants, against the Jets, whoever it is, they pound their chest like, look at us, we won, we did this, we did that, blah, 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 blah. So when you do all of that talking, you put a target on your chest. Dolphin fans don't do that. Some do, but most of them don't pound their chest after a victory over a team they should have run off the field. They move on to the next game. And true, they haven't beaten anyone. And against the teams above 500, they got run. But they're not pounding their chest as, yeah, Tua's the best quarterback, even though Tua is up there in yards and touchdowns. That team.
Tua has a legitimate chance to be the MVP this year, as does Dak Prescott, believe it or not. But this is what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said it before in recent shows. I said it with Keith. I said it with other Cowboy fans on and off the air. I believe that the Dallas Cowboys' most impressive showing in terms of a character gut check came at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles in a loss.
I agree.
But because of the fact that Dallas showed that moxie to be in the game, and, it's also been a little bit of a troll joint on the Eagles' part with how they seem to be getting every friggin' break known to man, not to mention that the Zebras have been somewhat beneficial to them.
Yeah.
So if I'm a Dallas fan, which obviously I'm not, but if I am, I'm feeling pretty good about Dak Prescott and that offense right now, because I actually see something in Dak's eyes and in the way he's been carrying himself that I haven't seen probably. You got to go back, I would say, to 16 when they swept. They were swept by our guys, but they did have the home game against Green Bay. Green Bay ultimately won, but I think a lot of Cowboy fans feel that particular Dallas team was very special. And I told Keith this, and I'm requoting my father. I said, he even told me, he said, Rich, if Tony Romo started this game, I don't think we would have won, but I believe that they did the right thing because you can't take the job away from the kid. And Dak was literally the kid back then.
I think with Dak, I'm not sold. And again, I'm going to, when I speak about Dallas during this show, I'm not speaking as a hater. I'm not sold for the fact that the teams he's put the points up against, the Giants twice. The Jets were good defense, but he didn't have to do nothing because of that offense. The defense got ahead on the Patriots to where Dak didn't have to ball out. And I need to see him when he had the chance. Okay, Arizona ran him off the field. That was their one legitimate stinker. And I remember the way I surmised that familiarity. Jonathan Gannon used to run things in the coaching room and in Philly, and he very much knew what their particular weaknesses was. And I also do believe that, correct me if I'm wrong, that lined up more or less with the Diggs injury. So I do believe that if there was a week to catch them on the heels, Arizona definitely played it well. And it seems like a lifetime ago because Josh Dobbs was actually starting that game for Arizona. Now he's with Minnesota. And see, my thing is, again, with Philly, which I believe Philly, I think they played the best wire-to-wire game. I think they got shitted on a few plays. I'm going to keep it 100. But I say with the Frisco game and the Philly game, both times he had the ball in his head. The first time with the Frisco, he threw an interception. Against Philly, he had two opportunities to put that ball in the end zone. He ran out of bounds on one, and the other one he threw a short pass short of the end zone to CeeDee Lamb and wanted CeeDee Lamb to do the work to get in. And it's not, and I'm not knocking. Now with Dallas, I always felt like Shannon Sharp said, what happens when that defense does not get scooping scores and interceptions? That's when Dak has to take this team and carry them. That's what I want to see when the defense is having a hard time, because against Frisco, against Arizona and against the Eagles, the defense did what they could, but they couldn't put a cushion in. And the ball was in Dak's hand to, okay, you got to take us to you're the quarterback. And I'm using the standard on him that we use against every quarterback. I think back the days when we had Eli. Eli was putting points on the board, but because our defense could not hold the opposing offense,
14 and 15.
Eli got blamed for Eli got blamed for the losses.
Look at Justin Herbert right now.
Justin Herbert. So
this is a dude putting up miraculous numbers, but his defense can't stop a nosebleed.
I need to see Dak take the ball and say, look, the defense is struggling. This is why he's the quarterback. Get the ball, say, okay, I got this. I'm the leader of this team. Go win me a game. When I see that, then I still feel he's a top 5 quarterback. Number 1, no.
This particular year, I think that he has to be this particular year because sometimes the bottom part of the top 5 does move around.
Yeah.
But right now, when you even talk MVP candidates, I don't see a guy like Mahomes being in the consideration because of the fact that the numbers are not going to be as outrageous as in previous years, but he's always going to be in the conversation. Josh Allen, in a lot of metrics, even with the 13 interceptions, is putting up MVP caliber numbers, but that team is 6-6.
I'm going Tua first. I'm going to Hurts first. I'm going to tell you why Hurts, because when Hurts had to win the game, he won the game. Yes, they had the calls, but he had the ball, and he took his team down the drive. He took his team the length of the field, whatever, to win. That's what I want my quarterback to. Number 2, I'm going Tua. Then I'm going Dak, number 3. I need to see Dak with the weapons he has around him. I need to see him beat a quality team.
Well, I did say this in the beginning of the year. Yeah, Tua's a similar situation. I did say this in the beginning of the year that I felt that Brandon Cooks, that signing was going to be very beneficial for Dallas because it's a competent veteran that's been around in a lot of locker rooms. He's one of those dudes that could keep switching teams, but he always fits in no matter where he goes.
Well, a lot of Cowboys fans were throwing him under the bus for a while.
Well, he got off to a slow start for sure. I think it legitimately took a little bit of the coaching staff and a little bit of Cooks to kind of meet halfway because I think his coming out party, at least to my recollection this year, was against the Chargers.
Yeah, I do want to address one person.
He's been putting up some good numbers.
I do want to address one person on the show, Mr. Robert Turner, a friend of mine, Cowboy fan. Me and him have been going at it since Mike McCarthy been the coach. I said, when they got rid of Kellen Moore, he said, good, Mike McCarthy's going to call the plays. They're going to run the ball. We don't need Zeke. Zeke is trash, blah, 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 blah. I said, you're going to miss Zeke because Pollard is not a 30 carry a game back.
No, I do tend to agree, unless if you have him behind that Eagle O-line. And don't get me wrong, Dallas has a good O-line. But not on the level. Well, nobody's on the level of the Eagles.
And I also told him, I said, Mike McCarthy is not going to dedicate himself to the run. I said, that's not Mike McCarthy. Yes, he is. No, he's not.
Follow him in Green Bay, bro.
And you see this year, he's making Dak throw the ball 30, 40 times. I said, that's Mike McCarthy. And I said, he's going to be the reason this team loses because you got to run the ball.
Revisit some of his playoff failures in Green Bay before he got over the hump in 2010. You don't have to look further than the game against the G-Men.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to look against when you think about the teams, the offenses particularly that he had and the outrageous kind of seasons that Rodgers had.
Yeah.
It's pretty egregious that Green Bay only won one when he was there. But I will say this in closing before we move to our next game.
Mm-hmm.
I could be very wrong, and that's going to be revealed sooner than later because the season's almost over. I believe Dallas, regardless of venue, could very well beat Philly because my issue with Philly this year, of course, you got to be a little lucky to win at every level. That goes without saying.
They've been lucky.
They've been very lucky, but one thing that worries me about them, it's not on the offensive side of the ball at all. They got a great offensive line. They got a great running game, and they have a very smart young man that's a hell of a leader in Jalen Hurts. But what worries me about them is on the other side of the ball, that secondary is leaky.
Slay and Bradbury do not look good.
They have their moments, but I feel that they have the propensity to give up the big plays. They can also nab you one out of midair. I mean, dude, Bradbury changed the momentum of that game picking off Allen.
I want to see Dallas win on the road.
I think Dallas is not in his. This is the cool thing about if you're a Cowboy fan and you want to shut up naysayers, or if you're a believer that they're not going to do it. The way their schedule was laid out is that all the tough ones are coming up at one time. So there's going to be some character checking starting this week and moving forward. As the game goes, I like the Cowboys. Yeah, I don't necessarily think you're going to see another 45-10, a 45-17 game, but I think the Cowboys are going to win this with relative ease. I'm going Dallas Cowboys 34, Seattle Seahawks 20. I got the Cowboys winning by 2 scores. I think the Seahawks keep it close. But in the fourth quarter, the things start to fall apart, and that's where Dallas gains the distance.
That's about what I see. I see 35-20.
So basically Dallas 5 touchdowns and Seattle a couple field goals, couple of touchdowns.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be moving it along to our next game. We've got the Indianapolis Colts, who are very surprising right now, 6-5.
Oh yeah.
Nobody expected them, especially when their rookie quarterback went down, Anthony Richardson, to be in this position. Gardner Minshew, who always seems to find a new life.
The stash.
The stash. Yeah, the stash is getting it right now. Indy's been a mixed bag, man, because, just to put it in perspective, Baltimore quietly is the best team in this conference.
Right.
Guess who beat them? The Indianapolis Colts.
Indianapolis Colts.
They sure did. Indianapolis Colts and the Cleveland Browns played a very entertaining game a few weeks back. That was a shootout.
Man. Great game.
It was a great game. It was an annoying game for me because of Jordan's pick and pool, but this South Division is strange because when I look at the overall quarterback play in a quarterback-driven league, I believe that C.J. Stroud this particular year, now albeit he's still learning.
Yeah.
But I think C.J. Stroud has the highest ceiling right now, and he's younger than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has the most balance and probably the best coach in this division in Mr. Doug Peterson. We are familiar with him for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the thing. Do I believe that Indy is a playoff team? Or do I think that they're kind of like maybe they peaked a little early and now this might be the moment of truth? I have not seen Vegas's line yet on this game, but I like the Titans here. I think the Titans, after a good defensive performance against, yes, a bad team, but sometimes you just need the first one to get going.
Right.
Mike Vrabel, embattled, possibly on the hot seat. And Will Levis has been far from impressive since his opening start, but I really like Derrick Henry here to not have, a game of 3 years ago, but I see him getting about $1 and possibly 2 scores. This is going to be low scoring. It's not going to be crazy, but I think they're going to get after Gardner Minshew, and I think they're going to force him into making one too many mistakes, forcing a pass downfield. And the difference in this one is I don't believe the Indy running game is going to get going the way the Tennessee running game is going to get going. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I got the Titans winning this thing 22-17, ending it on Gardner Minshew's 3rd interception of the game. 22-17 to the Titans, who actually could still kind of lurk a little. The bottom part of the AFC and NFC alike could let somebody in that nobody sees coming. But I got the Titans winning this one and putting a dagger, or not a dagger, but definitely a damper into what Indy's trying to accomplish right now.
Let everyone know I'm putting together a quarterback show, how quarterbacks are being developed. Look for it's coming soon. I think I'm going to go with Indy. I got faith in the stash. The thing about it that is, I wonder how would they have done had Richardson not got hurt. I think him getting hurt, and it's never a good thing to get hurt, but I think it's helping Indy because you have a quarterback who's been around the, it's been the Jacksonville.
Winning right now, a guy like Minshew could give you the better opportunity. Because I'll be honest, I like how he looked in Philly in some mop-up duty as well.
And I think this would be a learning thing for Richardson to see how the game is really played, because he went in there playing tough, which is great because he's a big guy, but he wound up getting hurt. So now he gets to see the flow of the team and how things are run. I think Derrick Henry, I think he'll get a buck also. Will Levis, I wasn't sold on him in college. And he's another one I got on the college show coming up about college quarterbacks. I was never sold on Will Levis. I just thought he was a product of that system that I can't stand, that Canadian Football League system that's seen it taking over college football. It helps that Tennessee is at home, but it's going to all depend on the quarterback play.
This division has been so topsy-turvy.
Golly, ain't it? Just put your hand in the hat and pull out a team, But I'm going with Indy in this. I'm going to go 24-14 Indy. I think they'll pull it off, go to 7-5.
Which is not far out of the question when you consider that even when Tennessee wins ball games, they do struggle to score points. So either result would not shock me because, as I already stated, this division has been weird, for lack of a better word. But when I look at some of the teams that are on the outside looking in, and we're going to hit on Houston before the show's over, but I believe that Houston is going to get back into the playoff bracket sooner than later.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
All right. The two teams that formerly employed Bill Hardee, I had the pleasure of scouting for Lake Region High School some time ago. Bill Hardee, nice man. My friend Matty, rest in peace. He brought me along, and I didn't say much, but I had these things open all day long. So shout out to him. These are his two former teams. As the game goes here, the Jets embattled quarterback situation with Zach Wilson hitting the skids. It's not pretty what you got behind him, but there is a glimmer of hope because Aaron Rodgers, AR8, on the Pat McAfee show, breaking the news where he makes a weekly appearance that they are opening that 21-day window where he is going to start practicing. And the bottom line is this. While I still think you're going to see Aaron Rodgers make an appearance this season, in order for it to matter, this is a game the Jets have to win.
Yes.
They have to find a way to win this game. And I'm going to say this. If this game was in the ATL, I would be a little more concerned about winning. But I do not have any faith in Desmond Ridder. I mean, I'll give them a shout out for being still in the mix in the South. That's all the topsy-turvy place.
Yeah.
But they went back to their identity. They started running the rock. We were begging for it on the last show.
Yeah.
And they heard us. They started running the rock. But I'll be honest with you. Even though the Jets offense, I'm just going to call it what it is. It's an utter shit show. That defense is not getting pushed around on the ground. They are not.
No. Nope.
This is going to be a very low-scoring game where the field goal is featured, where the punt is featured, where the directional punt is featured, and where it may take a pick six or a pick six or a strip sack to win this thing. I got the New York Jets on the foot of Greg Zuerlein winning a thriller. 12-10.
You mean like Monday night?
12-10 Jets. The fans go home happy. Robert Saleh gets to breathe a little bit of a sigh as Aaron Rodgers continues to strengthen that calf muscle, that magical tendon.
Well, they're not going to be able to run on the Jets. Bijan and Algiers, I think, That's a good 1-2 punch.
Don't get it twisted. They're good, but I think the Jets
Yeah.
defense can be like, no, not today. We're home.
Yeah, because they're not going to worry about Desmond Ritter.
And we're pissed because we're tired of losing.
Yeah, they're not going to worry about Desmond Ritter throwing to Drake London or anybody like that. I don't even mention the other receiver because he doesn't even exist.
You need somebody to bowl. You need a Jonnu Smith or a Kyle Pitts sighting. It ain't gonna happen out wide.
That's why I didn't say Pitt's name, because I don't know where he is.
Yeah, neither does he. And he's behind Jonnu Smith right now.
He's in the pit. Right? He's in the pit. Yeah, he's in the pit.
Yeah, it's in the pits. That's right.
I think, and I'm even gonna go. I think, golly, I think Zach Wilson's gonna have a good game this game.
Is he even going to play? I mean, I don't even know.
Oh, yeah.
Saleh and Belichick are on this shit where they're like, yo, we'll let you know when the game starts. I don't know. I don't even know what makes sense right now.
I think they'll start him. I think that as for Aaron Rodgers, he should just sit it out. I mean, I understand.
No, he won't. Not with that ego.
No, he's not going to. He's not going to.
Hell
I think he should. If they win this game, okay, you play. If you lose, just shut it down till next year. Because you got too much ground to cat.
Bro, you can't come out like Hulk Hogan on Saturday night's main event on the first Monday night game of the season.
Yeah.
And bro, every bit of what HBO putting them under a microscope. And listen, I don't hate Aaron Rodgers. I know he's playing a part. Yeah. But I'm not a big fan of Aaron Rodgers bad-mouthing our guys, saying how we get all the headlines and all this other nonsense. I'm like, dog, they were polishing you all off season. I remember.
Well, it's like this. The Giants get their headlines because when he played in Green Bay, we beat him up there. And the Giants are the incumbent team.
Yeah, bro.
Period. So that's that.
Prior to MetLife Stadium, if you bought one of them retro Jet sweatshirts that had all the features and the Hall of Famers and the location and the capacity of your arena, but you know what that shit said in the little corner? Giant Stadium.
Giant Stadium.
That MetLife thing, don't get me wrong, it's about sponsorships, but it's also about making little brother feel just a little more at home.
That's what it is.
It's kind of like giving you a bedroom but not putting a door on it.
If anything, they should start Trevor Siemian. I think they'll. God. I mean, I know, but I mean, it can't be any worse. You can't get no worse than Zach Wilson.
Actually, you could. His name is Mac Jones. Shout out.
No. I'm talking about
on that particular roster.
Yeah, if you talk about the league, it's Mac Jones.
My God. My God. Man.
I'm gonna go. I think the Jets will score 20 points on them.
20?
I'm gonna go 20-10 Jets, man.
In the same game?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think the defense put one on the board.
Well, yeah, Ritter is good for that.
Nah, I didn't say Zach Wilson's gonna go throw 3 touchdowns. I think they'll They'll get 3 field goals and a touchdown.
Nah.
Or something. They'll get
he ain't putting up those kind of numbers. Who do you think he is? Tommy DeVito?
Oh no, he's definitely not Tommy.
Yes, sir.
Not Mr. Fingers.
No, man. Love it, bro. I know it's a big facade, but let me just have my little bit of fun. On to the next one.
Oh.
What's your final, Idris? I'm sorry. What's your final?
Yeah, 20-10 Jets.
20-10 Jets. My bad. Let's keep it good. All right.
Get this. Oh, my bad. I done snoozed. There we go.
Yeah, you straight. I'm gonna let you start this one up.
Okay. The Detroit Lions. Those. I don't know if they're paper tigers or whatever. I don't know. Playing New Orleans in the dome. David Carr doesn't like David Carr.
David Carr, Derek Carr, broken car,
where's he now?
Car wreck. Michael Thomas is dinged. Thomas is dinged.
Yeah, he shut down.
Shaheed is day-to-day right now. That receiving corp's going through it.
Yeah, so in Detroit, they got to bounce back because they did not look good. They came back in the end, but it came up short. Dave Montgomery, he did his thing, but Jared Goff, man, God, you had a horrible game to start. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think they're going to bounce back this week. I think they're going to put some points up there. I think they'll probably hang 28, maybe 30. I I don't see anything New Orleans can do. They're hurting too much. Carter's like the car in Oakland or Vegas or LA or whatever they were calling themselves.
We told Brett about a year and a half ago on TikTok. He ain't gonna improve.
And how
many times? New trick.
We just kept telling him the whole year last year. No, Brett. Anyway, getting back to the game. I'm just gonna make it brief. I'm gonna say Detroit 30, New Orleans 17. I think Dan Campbell's gonna get those guys working this week.
I got a funny feeling that somehow or another, this has the makings of a low 30s kind of shootout. I still think the Lions are going to win. I think it might actually be somewhat dramatic.
Yeah.
I got the Lions winning this thing. I'm going to go 36-30 in overtime.
Woo!
Silencing.
That'd be great, though.
That very passionate Saints crowd. Because this thing, bro. Yes, the Lions have not looked good, but when I think about what's really wrong with the Lions most week, it's not their offense. I mean, they're going through a little bit of a sputter right now, but it's the defense that needs to truly be fixed. That's why this team, in my opinion, is not a Super Bowl contender right now.
Like last year.
Yeah, bro. I see these guys as definitely an improved organization and a team that's going to be around for a little while, but I keep saying it. And until they prove me wrong, I'll continue to say it. Good story. Nice to see them heading in the right direction for the first time in forever. But they are paper tigers, and this year's version of last year's Vikings, as the Saints go, very good defense. Offense is iffy, but they are at home. I think given the fact that this is indoors, both teams are going to feel comfortable. And I have a feeling that you're going to see a shootout with two B-level quarterbacks. I do, however, put Goff above Carr.
Before we move to the next game, I was thinking about what they said, how Dan Quinn built his defense. He was saying how his corners, he went after people in college who were known to go after the ball. That's why guys like Diggs and Bland see the ball coming. He said, if you can get the ball in college, you should be able to get that ball in the pros. And he drafted that way. And I think with Detroit, I think Dan Campbell needs to go into the office at the end of the season and say, look, we need to draft people who fit the scheme. If these guys, because I never heard of Deron Bland until he got to Dallas. Never heard of him.
Yeah, you got to give a shout out for what they're building over there, because I tell you, man, and I said this to Zappy many times.
Yeah.
And Zappy also suggested it. Zappy said, listen, dude, even if we go to the title game and somehow don't come away with a minimum of Super Bowl appearance, McCarthy is still not safe.
He's not safe. They have to get to, and I didn't mean to go to the subject, but they have to get to an NFC championship game.
And point to be made, it's not even an indictment of Mike McCarthy. It's more of a big up of having the blessing of almost having like two head coaches. I liken it to what Riverboat and Bieniemy are, because listen, dude, it's not even all Riverboat Ron's fault, but the bottom line is they brought in one of the most sought after coordinators who was under the watchful eye of Andy Reid. And in this case, Dan Quinn has already shown people what he can do in other places. I'm not insinuating. I'm not insinuating that McCarthy gets canned. And one thing about Jerry, look how long he held on to Jason Garrett.
But you know what? Last year, remember, Dan Quinn interviewed for some head coaching jobs. So there's no guarantee he'll stick around. I'm pretty sure he wants to be a head coach again.
No, I tend to agree. And I have a feeling that Dallas will make him happy with what his paycheck says to make him feel that it's more stable. But barring like literally a first round exit, which I don't see happening for Dallas, I think I'm going to reveal that down the road. But I think Dallas has every opportunity. Oh, yeah.
I tell any Cowboy fan, Dan Quinn is a hell of a DC.
There's a lot of time left. But when I think about the NFC title game, Although the Philadelphia Eagles got the best record in the NFL right now. I keep seeing the 49ers and the Cowboys. I'm not seeing an Eagle helmet.
It's possible. It's possible. Very
We shall
possible.
see. It's going to be fun, and I'm happy that part 2, which we're going to be releasing a couple of days after this one, is going to get on that Eagles 49er game. That's by design because I'm going to try to get Nunez and Shed together.
Hell yeah. All right. We got the Miami Dolphins 8-3 at the Washington Commanders. Commanders are on a slide.
They're sliding hard.
Yeah, thanks to our New York Giants. We
did kind of put that in motion. We did hit them with a season sweep. This is the issue with the Commanders, as everyone knows. They literally have the worst offensive line in professional football.
Yes.
And believe me, for half the season this particular year, I thought it was our team. But after seeing both teams play each other, I was like, no, sir, the Commanders are worse.
We got 9 sacks that game.
My God.
Yeah, we just.
And to speak on how bad our offense is, prior to the Isaiah Simmons pick 6, we're only winning by a score.
Right.
So, I try to look for positives with any roster that or any team. Washington's in a weird place because they did trade some talented players in the form of Montez Sweat as well as Chase Young, thinking about the future.
Yeah.
Sam Howell a couple of weeks ago was in the lead for total passing yards in this league.
Mm-hmm.
So they did get some things right here. I love Brian Robinson. Mm-hmm. I think Brian Robinson is one of the best young backs in this league. But I'm looking. Is there anything on this particular game that so much as even screams an upset special? Or am I just thinking too much that even if Miami isn't crisp and sharp, they should be able to handle these guys?
Yeah. I believe there is an upset right here. To be honest with you. Sam Howell, Washington hit on Sam Howell. The only thing he needs is if they can protect him.
Right. And that's a big if right now.
Yeah, I think they can beat Miami, man. Their defense is not that. Miami's defense is not that great. They're good. And but can they stop that Miami offense? That's the question.
I think the true equalizer here and what Washington has to hope for is that the weather could be the equalizer.
Right, that cold weather.
I'll tell you what would be perfect for Washington. Mm-hmm. Just horrible weather, wind, the whole lick. Maybe even some rain.
Dude, it was 21 degrees here. So today it was 21 degrees this morning.
Because one thing that I have been worried about for Miami, and Brett, who didn't make the show tonight, would tell you this. Mm-hmm. Are they mentally tough enough and physically do have the physical wherewithal to tough it out? I do like the fact that Mike McDaniel has implemented the run a lot more this year.
Yeah, Raheem Mostert. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Achan before the injury, that was a nice little duo. They're taking their time with Achan because he's young and you don't want to make a mistake. God forbid, get that guy hurt worse.
Right.
And you still have Wilson in the mix. And two of those faces were with McDaniel back in the 49er run.
Right.
As this goes, you know what? I'm going to do it, man.
Go ahead.
The NFC East is going to win this game.
Right on,
against the AFC East best team, just to explain to people that even in an off year, the NFC East is still capable.
Exactly.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I actually think I mean it. Washington Commanders, 33.
Woo!
Miami Dolphins, 27. Dolphins are going to outgame them. The difference in the game is going to be the Washington Commanders winning the turnover battle. I can't believe I'm saying this. Washington, watch out. This could be the upset of the week.
Say it with your Christmas shirt on. You know something? I'm calling it the same thing.
Stop playing.
To say it. You know something? I'm even going to show my. No, I ain't going to show my eye. I'm going Washington 30-28, man. I think Sam Howell's going to carve him up. I think it's going to be. I think the weather will be a factor. Like I said, we were 21 degrees here when I walked out the house this morning, and I'm a little south than Washington is, and they're near the water, so I think that weather will affect them, and I think they'll run the ball with Robinson. And,
I got that weird feeling that this is going to be one of those games, and people be like, well, Rich, why you got it so high scoring? I'm going to tell you why. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling that Washington gets up early.
Yeah.
Miami kind of starts tripping back at the end.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that what's going to do Miami bad in this one is that they're going to have a problem stopping them on thirds. One thing about Howell, he's become very friendly with his tight ends. Yeah. And even Gibson, bro, who's kind of been like an afterthought the last couple of seasons. Yeah, Scary Terry, you got to always account for. And I do think it's a quality matchup with he and Ramsey.
McLaurin, I got to take my hat off to that guy. Washington is always, I don't know. I don't know what to say about him. But this guy is quiet. He's like Marvin Harrison. Bro. He's like Marvin Harrison in Indianapolis.
He's a pro.
Yeah, you never hear him talking. You never hear him complaining. He goes out there and balls.
You know what I respect about him? Even though the Commanders are not nearly the proud organization that they once were, and I mean, hell, you could even say it about the logos behind me because we've been on hard times more times than not lately. What I like about that dude, similar to what I like about Saquon.
Yeah.
Is that these are dudes that it means something to be with one team.
Yeah.
And McLaurin is a throwback in that regard, and he has all my respect.
Yeah. You never hear him complaining, man. He just.
And I also think that he believes that if he continues to buy in and you put in the time, you're going to stick around long enough for things to turn. Because I'll be honest with you, we know how important the quarterback position is. They got the right quarterback.
Yeah.
And with some of those maneuvers they made, getting rid of Chase Young, getting rid of Montez Sweat, the Commanders do have the ability. Why do I put money on the Commanders in a couple of years to actually turn it around?
Mm-hmm.
Magic Johnson. And I'm not saying that he's the only owner, but Magic Johnson never touches anything that's not going to ultimately give back and win. Look at the track record.
Get that right. You got that right.
Look at the track record. I don't even have to get into the X's and O's and all the other aspects of it. Just look at the track record. I believe in that.
Winning. He's about putting a win on the field. Yeah.
He's done it in many different places.
And I think I think Riverboat Ron will probably be gone after this year. And with them not having to sign Sweat and not have to sign Daniel, that gives them money. They freed up money to really go after somebody or even draft. I mean, they got a lot, and they already know they have their quarterback. Shore up that O-line, and this team is going to be hard to beat.
And I'll be honest with you, like, this is a team that was only last year removed from almost bum rushing the party in the playoffs. And, Dallas and Philly have been the class of this division on and off, and it's very rare that anybody wins this division 2 years in a row. Philly very much looks like they're going to do that this year, barring a slight miracle. But this could be the kind of scenario that when the Giants or Commanders start climbing for real, that might actually be the part where Philly and the Cowboys are possibly regressing.
There was a time where it happened.
But it has been a minute, especially for Washington. I mean, you got to go back to when Sean Taylor was still on their defense, when they actually were putting together some playoff teams. Also, with, of course, in my opinion, one of the most underrated running backs in the history of the league in terms of his era, especially Clinton Portis.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Clinton Portis was a very special player.
Yeah. All right. Moving right along. Whew.
Oh, God.
You can start this one.
I really wish Brett was here. He's a little under the weather, but my God, to not get Brett on the show after we beat the Patriots, it would have been fun. Not to mention,
I want to talk about that.
I don't care what he wants to talk about.
Well, that's why he got sick,
Yeah, shout out Brett.
Yeah,
I think he got a little bit of a 24-hour bug. Yeah. As far as the Patriots offense goes, their offense is really sick. And at this point, I even said it on my socials the other day. I was like, marching out Mac Jones is literally tanking in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
This is a team missing Christian Gonzalez. They're missing Matthew Judon. They got too many injuries right now. Ramondre Stevenson is a damn good player.
Yeah.
And if I'm the New England Patriots, I'm already thinking about next year. Marvin Harrison Jr. I understand that they have some quarterbacks in this draft, but I believe that's the way you got to go because let's not forget, there is a certain veteran that's going to be healing that plays for Minnesota. You have a quarterback that's currently playing for Minnesota that could be moving. Minnesota's going to make a decision on which one of those two gentlemen they want to keep around. They ain't keeping them both.
Yeah.
So as a stopgap, the Patriots do have some options for guys that they can go with, but I still think the best case scenario for New England, you still have talent at that quarterback position round 2, but you have to get your number one receiver. He's a generational talent. They missed out on D-Hop, maybe for the better, because D-Hop is old now.
Yeah.
And also, I know that Bob Kraft has said one thing to the media, that Bill's coming back. For some reason, I don't have confidence that that's the case. I have to see it happen. As the other guys go, the Chargers, Brandon Staley is definitely not coming back. Kellen Moore is their next head coach. And it's time, dude, because when I consider the numbers that Justin Herbert puts up most weeks, and yes, he does have a propensity for making some mistakes, but I said this to you recently.
Yeah.
How Josh Allen, I believe, has more responsibilities than any other quarterback in the league. I think Justin Herbert's right next to him. Yeah. Responsibilities meaning that the team is so imbalanced that they got to do a little too much. Aaron Rodgers has had to wear that hat in different years in Green Bay. Patrick Mahomes has had to wear that hat.
Yeah.
Right now, those two particular quarterbacks are doing too much, and what do they have in common? They're both probably not going to the playoffs. Maybe Buffalo, but definitely not Los Angeles. As the game goes, New England's offense is so terrible.
Oh, my God.
But this is the caveat. The Chargers never beat them in New England. Like, ever. you even in the Phillip Rivers era, the LaDainian Tomlinson era.
Yeah.
They might catch them in the West Coast, but they ain't beating them in Boston, in Gillette. That ain't happening. But this time it is. The Patriots are just lacking talent so disgustingly. Chargers 26, Patriots 20. It's going to be a very hard-earned 20 points. Sorry, Coco, your team is ass cheeks right now. They will be better. They will be better. But I really don't know what direction they're going in. I don't know if Bill Belichick's staying. I don't know if Bill O'Brien's the contingency. Steven Belichick maybe gets the gig, but I can't see him like separating from his dad.
I'm gonna hit you with something. Do you know Ezekiel Elliott is on pace this year to tie what he rushed for last year with less carries?
Somewhat interesting.
Yeah, I looked.
I was not aware of that stat.
Yeah,
no, I was not.
He had 876 yards last year on 200 and something carries. I forgot what it was. He's 499 yards away on only 95 carries.
And you got to think, dude, with the way the season's going right now, and their inability to throw the ball, it's not the most far out plan that could, or far out scenario that could even happen. Now, granted, he's in mop up duty with Stevenson's the bell cow.
I say that to say this, it goes to show he still has something left in the tank. Because, last year, Pollard was more like the feature back. And he's still putting up the same numbers as, I guess, the backup.
I'll be honest. You know how, like, crossing it over in baseball for a second.
Yeah.
You know how, like, the Mets and Astros struck a deal and Verlander wasn't even a Met for a year and he went back to familiar territory?
Yeah.
At the deadline, if I'm Dallas, I would have considered making a deal with the Patriots Bro, if you were willing to give the Patriots a 7th, they probably would have cut the deal with you.
Yeah.
A 7th, maybe if they okay, let's be a 6th. You're telling me that you put Ezekiel Elliott back with the Cowboys, especially what he means on the goal line,
protects those sacks too.
what he means on identifying blitz packages and how he picks up blockers.
That's what I told a few Cowboy fans. This guy has value because he will stop that linebacker blitz coming up. He'll give Dak more time to throw the ball. Just imagine had he been there in the Philly game.
Bro, if he's a free agent next year, I'm just going on the record right now, and I might get laughed at for so much as even saying this.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be one bit pissed if Saquon Barkley shared a backfield with a reduced role Ezekiel Elliott next year.
You know something?
Because Ezekiel Elliott is more capable than anybody else backing up Saquon Barkley.
I'm glad you said that because
the fact that I'm shouting him out is saying that he's good enough to play for my team.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because that was the next thing out of my mouth.
Great minds think alike. Zeke will never be what he was, but especially
he will bring some value because he got that power.
Bro, you know I love Saquon.
Yeah,
but Saquon don't do everything great. Saquon ain't picking up no blitz packages, bro. No. Let's keep it real.
Zeke's gonna like move. Right. But to the game, I agree with everything you said about New England and the Chargers. Chargers struggling. You know, defense gives up a lot of pass plays, a lot of scores at the end. But this is not the type of offense that the Chargers are going to have to worry about being up.
I might be generous. That might be very generous of me to even say that New England puts up 20. But I have seen them hang around with teams they shouldn't this year, so I'm going to just give them the benefit of the doubt for now.
Yeah, I'm going with the same score you have with the game, same thing. But I will say this. If the Chargers lose this game to the Patriots, Brandon Staley has to go. Don't even put him on the plane.
I honestly don't even know what they're
waiting for. From the locker room. He got to go shower somewhere else.
I truly don't know what they're waiting for, and it shocks me that they haven't made the move already because I feel that the person that's supposed to take over is already in the facility. I think it's Kellen Moore. Unless if they have these grand ambitions that maybe they can lure a guy like Jim Harbaugh out of college.
Or Bill Belichick, moving right along.
For now, if Belichick leaves, I think Zappy's take might make the most sense for now. Yeah. But I can't imagine Bill Belichick wanting to go to a team that don't have a quarterback. We'll see. He's talking about Tennessee. We're going to have plenty of shows to address that. Plenty of shows to address that. This is our final game of our part 1 video. A rematch of Super Bowl 43. I'm sorry, guys. Game and all that. The Arizona Cardinals at 2-10 traveling to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do the Arizona Cardinals so much as even have a puncher's chance in this game? I'm looking for something to connect that can lead to something emotional. James Conner's going back to Pittsburgh. I expect him to play hard.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. Kyler Murray is going to be in for a very long day. And this could be one of those games where Pittsburgh beats somebody by a lot to a little by accident. And I think they're going to win the turnover battle, even though Kenny Pickett is far from an ideal quarterback, not just from a developmental standpoint, but from a ceiling standpoint. I have a ton of faith in Coach Mike Tomlin to outcoach an up-and-coming coach, John. Gannon is not getting the praise because he is literally building it from the bottom.
Yeah.
Arizona has an uphill battle to become who they're going to be. In time, that will be revealed, but Arizona has had a terrible habit of not seeing it through with coaches.
Yeah.
And until they do, you can't expect things to necessarily get better. As this game goes, short, sweet, and very easy. Pittsburgh 24. Arizona don't hit the end zone. Arizona 6.
20-7 Pittsburgh.
20-7 Pittsburgh.
That's all I got for that game.
We're going to wrap it up with one final one here. We've got the Houston Texans hosting the Denver Broncos. Houston, heartbreaker, bro. So last week, in my opinion, CJ Stroud looked like he had that look of the comeback. And I got to shout out Brett here.
Mm-hmm.
Brett basically said, and I didn't agree with him at first on the last show. He was like, yo, dog, this dude reminds me a little bit of Brett Favre in certain metrics. He takes a lot of chances. He's a bit of a gunslinger. But most importantly, he keeps you on the edge of your seat.
You got that right.
So after thinking about it a little bit more, I said, you know something, man? Brett is not exactly all the way off on that similarity in both their games. But, man, that loss last week was so tough because if they win, not only would they have had the season sweep over the Jaguars, they would have had sole possession of first place because they would have been tied, but they would have had the tiebreaker.
Right.
Now you're 2 games behind Jacksonville with a season split. And let's be real, this time of the year, it's going to be very difficult to catch them. So I think Houston's best way into the playoffs is obviously going to have to be a wild card. When I think about this game, keys to victory for Houston, they've got to be able to run the ball because Denver does have a weakness against the run if you commit to it. I'm looking for a shootout here, bro. I have a feeling that both these offenses are going to be kind of hitting it back and forth.
Yeah.
If this was in Mile High, I probably wouldn't have the same aspiration. But in Houston, I could kind of see a back and forth battle.
Yeah.
You know what, man? I'm taking the home team here.
Me too.
Devin Singletary can have a big day.
Mm-hmm.
Most importantly, I think C.J. Stroud wins the turnover battle against potential future Hall of Famer Russell Wilson. Potential.
Yeah.
Because some of his allure has kind of backed up since coming to Denver, but he is playing much better now. Denver's keys to victory, I think you got to be able to force Stroud into making mistakes. He's young.
Yeah.
You've got to give him a lot of different looks, hit him with some exotic blitz packages that are going to make him make mistakes. But I don't think that Denver necessarily has the personnel on defense to do that right now. I think both quarterbacks are going to ball out, but I think the difference is Russell Wilson makes a couple of mistakes that Stroud doesn't make. That Houston crowd's going to be tough.
Yeah.
You know what? Why not? Houston just cut their kicker, which was very unfair. That was a 58-yarder. You know, that's not a chippy.
No.
Houston 37, Denver 34. Houston wins on a last-second field goal.
I'm going to go 35-30 Houston. I think with C.J. Stroud, I think he's so into being a pro now, I don't think they'll be able to rattle him. Because that Houston crowd is like, they supported him like, we got faith in you, man. We know you can do it. And I think he has that confidence. I mean, I'm blown because you know how I felt about Ohio State quarterbacks.
For sure.
He just, I mean, the guy just like, he's balling, dude.
Well, it always takes the first one to kind of change. It always takes the first one to kind of change the narrative, you know. And
he's balling, dude.
And you gotta shout out DeMeco Ryans. He is undeniably one of the candidates in my eyes that should be up for consideration for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, because we all had that team winning what 2 games, 3 games this season, something like that, maybe.
I had him doing a little better, but I certainly didn't have him doing this good. I'll put it to you.
I think I had him 3 games.
Yeah, Houston has definitely ascended, and yeah, it's nice to see, man. DeMeco Ryans. It's cool to see that he got the opportunity after being a hell of a coordinator for the Niners, and the man who replaced him with the Niners is a guy that the Panthers should have kept, Steve Wilkes.
Yes.
So it's good to see great coaches getting some due. Did Carolina just not fire their coach?
Sure did. The whole staff.
They made a big mistake. Steve Wilkes should have stayed. Lesson learned. Hey, Raiders, on the way out, want to tell you this. Don't do it again.
No.
You got rid of Rich Bisaccia. Have the wherewithal, have the intelligence to keep Antonio Pierce. He's doing a very good job over there.
Yeah. At least give him a year.
30-second mark. Just want to let you guys know, thanks for hanging with us. This will be dropping 9 in the morning. This is a pre-record. Also, we have our part 2 of this coming out towards the weekend. Details to come. For Idris, I am Richie. Thank you for hanging. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Richie's Kingdom Sports Pod on YouTube. Have a great night, everyone.
College Show Saturday.
Yes, sir.